Welcome to another episode of This Game Stinks. It is late on Monday. Late. Again, I'm so sorry. I apologize. You guys know if you're listening, you probably know I was on vacation last week, so I was off for about 2 weeks. I got an episode put out right before I left on vacation, and I wasn't able to do one on vacation just because I wanted to relax. I was off from work. I was getting married. I was really just enjoying my time with my fiance and now wife. We just both wanted to relax and not have to worry about anything. So I didn't do any episode from Hawaii where I was. I was out in Hawaii. So very jet lagged still, very, very tired. We'll get through it here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about a game that I've been playing, a game that's been a lot of fun so far. I didn't really know what direction I wanted the show to take. I've done some newer games that have been out. I've done some retro games, and now I kind of came back with the Sea of Thieves update, so I even did an update episode, and I don't really have a specific direction that I want to go. I just want to talk about games. I want to learn more about you guys, and I've been able to do that so far. I've had tons of new followers and everything like that, guys. I do appreciate all the love I'm seeing on Instagram. Even when I'm not been very active in posting, I've still seen those numbers go up, so that's always a good sign, right? Anyway, I want to talk just a little bit about the Switch. God, this thing, why is it taking me so long to get to this point where I need to say that it's a good system? Obviously, I should have had it a long time ago. I don't know why I waited so long. And this thing is really brought me back to my childhood, honestly, and playing Mario and beating Mario already. I haven't got all those moons because good Lord, how many are there? Oh my gosh. I was playing with my wife last night, actually. That's one of the games that she does enjoy to play, and we were just searching around the same map for hours looking for moons now that the game is over. Whew, my Lord. It's a struggle, and I wish they could at least give you the hints. I might be missing something, but the list just is numbers of moons in the area and not so much where they're at. I thought at least in the Mario, and this reminds me the most, I guess I'm just bringing it back to Mario 64. You kind of got a hint about the star. You could find a star and that was all good, but if you're on that level, you at least got like a little hint of where the star is. Some of these moons I feel like I'm never going to be able to find unless I look it up, and I feel like I cheat if I look it up. And I know you guys feel the same way about that. You don't look up where this stuff is. You got to find all of it for yourself. I try my hardest not to look things up before trying them as many times until I get frustrated. There's like a meter, though, like of frustration to caring about doing it myself meter. And sometimes on certain games, that meter is a little shorter if it's super frustrating. And Zelda, the game that I wanted to talk about, even though I've gone on about Mario already, I do want to talk more about Mario. I love the game. It's one of the best games I've played in a very long time. But Zelda is like right up there, like next to this. And honestly, maybe I'm not enough into Zelda yet to put it all the way at the top, but I think it could get there. The Breath of the Wild is so far really impressed me. I've clearly been a little upset. I'm going to talk about the game today. And if I'm talking about the game on the show in depth, that usually means that there are some things that I disagree with, and there's not many, and they're pretty picky. I'm like I told you, I'm pretty jet lagged right now. I'm pretty tired. So these are probably going to sound like I'm pulling them straight out of my ass because they're not great. And I don't even have 8. I'm starting off the show in my show notes that I took like not very long on this week, but I put a little bit of time in, and I could not get to as many points as I wanted to, and I'm hoping that just me rambling here today might get us to that 7th and 8th stinky point if you go by how the show usually goes. But I'm just going to start off and say I really like how it looks. It looks really cool. I mean, some of these scenes in the game are amazing looking, and it's only in whatever, I don't even know what the cartoon or graphic aspect would be to what you call this. It looks like cartoonish to me almost at some points, and it looks really cool how they move so well and realistic. Like when I'm dying, and trust me, I'm dying a lot, Zelda just like how he moves, like if he falls off a cliff. I know this is kind of weird to say, but when I've fallen off a cliff, I've just noticed like how he tumbles and how he moves and rolls, and are just so like they're real. They're really real looking. I don't know. It's different on this game. How it looks. It just looks very good, even in that cartoony format that it's in. So I think my first point is I feel like people probably either really like how the game looks or people really don't like how the game looks, because I feel like they could have made it a little bit more realistic, even though Zelda's not ever been that. But maybe they could start getting to that point. Maybe not in the 720p that I think, I think it goes up to 1080. Maybe only 720 in the handheld. But just basically the graphics, maybe they're thinking Zelda could look better than this, not as cartoony, a little more real. But I don't know if anyone would have that argument, but I could see there being one with that. Just like every Zelda game I feel like I've ever played, I've played most of the Zelda games. I have not played most of them to completion. I've played heavily Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, Ocarina being my favorite of those two, and one of the more difficult games I've ever had to play as a child. Not looking up that game was very difficult. I remember I had a strat guide for that because I don't remember looking anything up on the internet. I've said in previous episodes, don't ever remember doing that at all. So this links me back to that. It has that feel. I'm just now getting to one of the animal bosses, the big robots, and I'm like, oh man, I'm at the temple. Hopefully this is the equivalent to a temple, and I know I'm just getting into the game, but I've still done a lot, I felt like, so far. But I'm just saying, I feel like at the beginning of the game, I've had to trek across Hyrule like 58 times. Like, oh my gosh, it takes so long. And I know I could probably put a little bit more effort into finding, I've found horses and they get me across them that much more quickly, but I haven't looked into, other than just me running across them, if there's any other way I can like bring them to me, use my whistle somehow. I'm sure there is, but I haven't found that yet. So I've been trekking across Hyrule on foot, and it's like Impa knows this, and then this guy across there knows that, and oh no, now you gotta go back and talk to Impa. And I'm like, what the shit? You guys couldn't like just send a message? Like, it is so far. Do you guys? They don't know how far it is. They don't move. Zelda, not Zelda, Link. I want to know how many miles he's put in across this bitch in his career. Someone needs to add up the footstep amount for Link going through all the games ever. And like the shortest amount of time beating the game, tell me how long he has trekked in miles. It's probably insane. Going from that, like I said, I just feel like I'm having to run back and forth a ton, and it got a little bit boring. I found myself doing other things as I'm holding the button down, because you don't even really need to fight anything as you run through. So just the back and forth is a little bit much, but I guess I could be just being a little bitch about that and complaining slightly. But at the beginning, the map is kind of hard to use, and you gotta climb and do all kinds of stuff, so it takes a while. And talking about climbing and running trying to be across the map as quickly as you can. Man, that exhaust meter gets exhausting. That thing it's been tough to get used to. I'll put it that way. I don't think I've played a game in a while where I've had something like that. So it took a lot of trial and error at first, a lot of messing up, not being able to make it. Certain places, trying to crawl or climb. Swimming, I'm like, oh, I can swim. The old Zelda could swim down, so I got like in the middle of the water, died. Like, so there's so many. Like, the next point is there's so many ways. Like, taking chances costs your life. Like, learning the game costs you deaths, and it's not like a big deal. Like, yeah, you died, big whoop. You just start off from the last checkpoint, so what? But I mean, you don't want to die all the time. I mean, it's a little defeating. You feel like you're starting to rush a little bit. You don't want to go back and do that last part you didn't save or something. And I don't know. It just, you got to learn the game in the very beginning very well, because you're not going to be able to swim out that far, climb up that high. So you really got to you can't just really run through the game in the beginning, I guess. And you got to really learn your controls and your limits, and I think they're growing, obviously, as you move through the game, getting more stamina, getting more health, but at the beginning, it is a rough go. And I gotta say that I'm not sure how I feel about the variety of weapons, so bringing me back to my favorite Zelda, Ocarina of Time, there was, I think, 3 weapons: a little sword, a bigger sword, and a really big sword. And then some sticks and shit if you wanted to use that. But you didn't use the Deku stick. You used the Master Sword or the big-ass sword if it was fixed by the Goron guy. But you didn't really lose that sword. You only lost the big sword when it broke the first time. And that was it. Like, every other time, you still had that sword. It never went bad. It was awesome through the entire game. Now, I find awesome swords, and then all of a sudden they break. Like, what the shit? I want to find a really cool sword that lasts me the whole game. I don't know. There's something about having that, like, really cool item or that gets you through, like the ocarina, or like that sword that could bring him back in time, and it never broke, and it was, like, the coolest sword in Hyrule. Like, that's cool. Just finding random cool different swords every so often, or sticks, and then they break, and then in the middle of battle, like, I don't know which ones I should keep, and then all of a sudden I got none, and then there's nowhere to pick anything new up. So I'm not sure. I feel like I've been frustrated with my weapon. Like, I had a pretty good weapon for a little while that lasted me like a good hour or so in the game, which was cool. Loved having that weapon, but all of a sudden it was gone, and I had nothing left, like sticks and pitchforks and shit. Like, I feel like I would rather just have an item, and that's my item. Maybe I get something later in the game. I don't know. Like, these are my first impressions, basically, guys. I've only been playing the game. I'm probably like 5 hours in, maybe. And that's guessing. And I'm also really bad at telling how much time I've been playing a game, too. So, who knows how long I've been playing it for? I'm with the Zorons right now, swimming around, trying to fight the elephant. I'm inside the elephant. So I'm really not super far in. I've been playing for a little bit. I've got some basic first ideas, and these are where these troubles are coming from. So far we've discussed a little bit about how the game looks, whether people like the cartoon-ish aspect, and I don't even know if that's even accurate, cartoon, like, because it's not a cartoon. It's like crazy beautiful looking. I just don't know the exact term. If you guys want to comment, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, tell me what it's called, because it just looks a little cartoony to me, and I think that maybe some people would like that, some people might not. But I think it looks beautiful, and the movement of the characters is insane. Another maybe a little gripe: how many times am I going to trek back and forth crossed Hyrule here in the beginning of this game. I'm sure many more miles to come, but hopefully, I'm sure I'm going to be getting like Epona's like daughter or daughter or something to ride around more often, or I just got to suck it up and figure out how to find a horse every time. That exhaust meter, I'm still getting used to it. I'm still having to almost take chances to see if I can crawl and make it all the way up a wall or swim across a certain area. I'm having to, it's almost opening up a new aspect to the game where I'm really having to look and see my environment, nature, the shortest way across swimming, the shortest way up, what ledges can I stand on the way up. So it's really bringing that element into the game, which, obviously I'm not a big fan of because it's making take way longer. But thinking about it now, talking about it with you guys, it actually it's given me another respect for the game and why this game could be so difficult. Another thing we were talking about earlier is just taking those chances costs you lives, and it's just frustrating when you die. It's so frustrating because you go back to those checkpoints. If you haven't saved in a while, you can really get caught up in a beautiful game, a game with such a good story. If you're really reading and seeing what's going on, you can maybe sometimes forget that your last save point is pretty far. So remember to check those save points up because taking chances, again, will cost you your life in times. And my biggest concern is the weapons so far. I'm hoping that I'm kind of early still, and there's going to be something that gives me like just a more usable weapon that I don't lose every hour if it's decent. Or maybe they just get better and better and better, and then they'll last a couple of days or something. I don't know. And you can stack them and keep the same one. So maybe, I guess that's an element I have to start thinking about. But at this point, I really just miss having my one really cool sword. So guys, that's going to be it for me this week. I know, short and sweet episode. Just a couple of points, some, discrepancies I've had with Zelda Breath of the Wild so far, but it's an amazing game. These are just my first comments on it. Changing up the format just a little bit, seeing how this works. And you guys can find me on Instagram. My name is TC. You can find me at This Game Stinks 1. That's the number 1. You can also listen to this show on YouTube, on Spotify, and on iTunes. It's also on Libsyn. And if you just go to www.thisgamestinks.com, you'll actually find the old podcast there as well. So go ahead, guys, hit me up. You can email me through the website, through Instagram. You can message me on there. Send me a message. Let me know what you think of the show, and then feel free to comment on any of the posts, and let's get a conversation going. Let's build a community. All right, guys, have a good one. We'll see ya.